Hi, it's Ashleigh from Sweet Dreams Bake Shop, and today I thought I'd put a little spin on my classic sugar cookie recipe. So today I'm trying to use up these little oranges that are probably past their prime of actually eating. So the zest is still good. I'm just going to grate that in, make sure it's nice and fine, and I'm just putting it into my original sugar cookie recipe, which I will link down in the description box below. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in those cardamom tea spices. So I'm just going to cut those open and pour that directly inside. This sugar cookie recipe is very versatile. You're gonna end up with a nice soft but firm cookie, so it can stand up to a lot of decoration. And if you ever wanna add anything in, I always add it in at the creaming butter stage. This cookie cutter here was actually a round cookie cutter before, but my son actually pulled it, and it works perfectly as a little egg shape. So we're making quite a large Fabergé egg today. You can totally skip this part, but I wanted to make something a little bit more special with this section. So I'm going to use my little fondant mold here, and I'm just placing the dough directly in there using a little bit of flour so it pops out fairly easily. I'm just placing the dough on top of the dough. It really doesn't need any extra things to adhere to it because once it bakes, it'll bake all together. I really want this flavor to pop and I want it to be quite different. So I'm using my regular royal icing recipe, which is just 1 cup of icing sugar to 1 tablespoon of meringue powder. And I'm gonna add in this orange blossom water. Now it is very, very strong, so I'm only adding a little bit in there. Now this is not going to give you a super orangey taste, though there are those orange notes in it. It's more fragrant than that, so it's a little bit flowery as well. I'm using a pipe and flood consistency, which is basically the consistency where you can spread this out, but it'll still dry nice and flat, but it won't go over the edges. In order to get this consistency, I really make sure to whip my icing quite a bit, and I also make sure to have the exact ratio of water. That will take some time for you to learn. I'm giving this a really nice light sheen, so it's a little bit pearly, and there's a slight amount of ivory in this as well. I just wanted it to have a little bit more definition. You can totally skip this part and just leave it pure white if you would like to, or any other color that you can think of. Now I'm adding on dots, and I really feel like the dots bring together that Fabergé kind of feel. If you've ever seen a Fabergé egg, they're very, very ornate. So I want to try and make this look as ornate as possible. I am using a thicker royal icing consistency for this. I'm also using a number 2 tip. Usually I use tipless bags, but my supplier has been sold out for a little while, so I am using a tip today. I'm going to be connecting all of these dots later on, but I am leaving a little bit of space just so that I make sure I get that definition. This icing is thick, but it's not super, super thick to the point where it dries almost instantly. It does have a little bit of a gloss to it still, and it is slightly loose. Now we're going to create some lines on the egg, and when I'm creating these, notice I'm dropping down the line. I'm not letting that piping tip drag through. If you want to have nice, straight, or curved lines, really important that you're dropping that line down, keeping that flow nice and steady. So this does require steady pressure. Now I'm going to be adding in all of the little details, and these are just kind of flowing off the top of my head. I'm not looking at a picture. I'm not really thinking of anything in particular. What I did think about was I did think that I wanted lots of detail on the top and the bottom of this egg and a little kind of belt throughout the center. I'm adding in some cross hatches here, and in order to do that, it's the same thing as the line technique I showed you earlier. We're just going to cross them all over. Now that those dots have dried a bit, I'm going to go in and add in the rest of the dots. I do also want to make mention that with this consistency, I am able to fill in small sections and have it still dry nice and flat. I want to create some scrolls all along the egg here, and in order to do so, I am keeping that piping dip really nice and low. Some of it is dragging back through that frosting just a little bit. The key to getting this right is keeping everything nice and rounded and also making sure, again, steady, even pressure with that piping bag. And actually, the faster you do it, the more easy it'll be. I find when I'm too steady and I'm concentrating too much, it's actually a lot harder to get that nice and curved. You can choose to add these things on whenever you see fit. I felt like this little section here needed some edible pearls. Now for the fun part where we get to paint everything gold. Now this is my favorite edible gold that I found so far, and I am just brushing this directly onto the cookie. This is a gold by Sweet Sticks, and I'm mixing it with a little bit of vodka just to make sure that it paints really, really easily, and it is giving me all over nice coverage. I tried something out with some sugar syrup. It didn't work for this tutorial, so I'm going to show you guys again on the next tutorial. So you see some sugar hairs there, but the taste of this is honestly so fabulous. Very, very fragrant. A nice bite to this cookie. Now let's get into the pricing of this cookie. Now, even though it has a lot of detail, I would actually only offer this as some sort of Easter special, as a stock order, because there is a lot of detail in this. And the sizing of this does make it really tricky to order as just a custom order by itself. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can be part of the Sweetie fam. Right now, I'm uploading weekly, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. Also, be sure to comment, request, or ask a question. I love hearing from you guys. I also wanted to mention that I finally got a P.O. box, so if you want to send me any mail or anything else, I will leave that down in the description box below of all of my future videos. Bye!